Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, with your hosts, Josh Earl, Derick Bailey, and John Sonmez, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
The Entreprogrammers Podcast is brought to you by Signalleaf.com. It's not just the best audio host for your podcast, it's also the only podcast host that we'll talk about during the Entreprogrammers Podcast, because Signalleaf is one of the services that I'm building and often used as fodder for information that we talk about during the Entreprogrammers Podcast. So check it out at Signalleaf.com. It's podcast hosting without the headaches.
We're on the air.
Yay!
Hey guys.
So how's everyone doing? Who's got the crisis? I know one of you has a crisis.
Everybody has a crisis.
I'm good actually. No crisis here. So, although I was at the gym lifting yesterday and listening to John talking about how he's cutting back on GetUpAndCode, and I was sad.
Yeah.
Man, I was so tempted. I still, before the day is through, I may release a GetUpAndCode episode. I fell back on my YouTube video because, well, I said I was going to do YouTube videos once a month, and then I was like, no, I can't. So I recorded a YouTube video this week on my iPad Mini.
Yep. With
no editing, just bam, upload, and I don't know. I'm still kind of filling things out, but I might just like I don't know. I'm thinking about like just figuring out how to operate. Like, do things have to be as strict, and maybe you hit some point and then you let loose a little bit, and you don't worry about like the schedules and the routines so much, and you just kind of produce stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'll see how this goes, and I mean I'd like to get the GetUpAndCode running, but there's so much involved in shipping one episode, and then there's like a lack of topics. So
right.
I don't know. We'll see. And maybe it's just for a period of time to maybe like in a couple of months I get back on and just start doing weekly episodes again. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's any necessity in saying I'm going to always do it on a certain schedule, honestly. And I think you get people expecting and wanting to see things on a schedule, but you know what? That's their problem, not yours. If it's something that you don't think you can do on a weekly basis, then don't do it. If you can do it on a weekly basis for a while, great. If you need to take a few weeks off, great. I'm with Watch Me Code. I'm pre-recording as many episodes as I can, and I have like all the way out until September or October or something already recorded now.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Have you thought about going John Lee Dumas style and just doing them all in one day, like knocking out a bunch of them in one day?
That's kind of what I do. I usually take Friday mornings, and for the last few weeks at least, I took Friday mornings and would record 4 or 5 every Friday, and then send them off to my editor, and that's how I've built up the backlog that I have.
Nice. So did you say you're built out? You're done through like the fall?
Yeah, like September, October timeframe.
Nice.
But I kind of need to be, though, because I have to get going on my Backbone screencasts for pragmatic programmers.
Yeah.
That's like that and Signalleaf are the two big things that I need to be focusing on right now. So I've started just a few minutes ago. Started standing up another DigitalOcean box to get Signalleaf's blog converted over to WordPress. So that'll be
nice.
And of course, using John's video for that, because.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure that'll help you get blogging again on that. That's got to be for me. Like that was always a huge whenever little things like with some of those static site generator frameworks, like even things like code highlighting and stuff. Like there'd always be something, and I'd be like, oh gosh, am I gonna have to figure out how to hack this together myself? And I'll have 2 hours to do that.
Yeah, for me, I had all the pieces in place that I want. It's more the tooling and the process to just produce the content. I've got 4 blogs that are running on WordPress right now, and then there's Signalleaf, and it's the one oddity and outlier, and it having to remember the workflow and the process, and going through and manually putting the images in place, and it's just too much work.
Yeah.
I can't get motivated to write for Signalleaf because there's too much work involved in writing. So I'll get a VPS stood up for that. Well, I've got the VPS, but I'll get WordPress installed and configured on that sometime today probably, and get that going, and then be able to start blogging on there again, and then get some research and writing done for what we talked about on the mailing list, Josh.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting that Barry, that's the same thing like with the YouTube videos is, and I batch them, right? So like normally I would batch, like take one day and shoot like 5 YouTube videos with high quality setup and everything, and then edit them all, which takes time. It's almost like a day process to do that. But but that was the thing I was thinking is like with when I shot them on the iPad Mini, it was like, okay, bam, it uploads right from there, and so I cut down that. And so there's something to be said about like cutting down the process.
Right.
Like you don't get the polish. I don't know. There's like if you get enough, there's a point where you could have both. If you can make enough money off of a thing to hire someone to add the polish, right? And then you just do the thing. But there's a significant. I don't know. There's a point, and then there's some question in my mind whether. Well, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm sending a newsletter out this week about this guy. I just read an article on him. You know who the most popular? Do you guys have you heard of the most popular YouTube channel that exists?
No.
It's this guy from Sweden. I can't even pronounce his name. He's like Felix Arvid Ulf Kjellberg. His channel is called like PewDie.
I think we just picked up an anti-sponsor, by the way. He's like, I'll pay you to not ever try to pronounce my name again.
Yeah. Right.
PewDiePie. Okay, so he's got 25 million YouTube subscribers. Okay,
Holy cow.
25 million. He beats out everyone. He makes $4 million a year on YouTube videos.
Wow.
Just the ads, right?
Wow.
Each video gets like several million views. So his channel is him not very professionally, it's not produced anything. It's just him playing video games and making stupid comments like and weird voice. That's it. That's it, right?
Nice.
Wow.
But now I forget where I was going with this. Oh, but there's something to be said about just like whether production quality actually matters so much as we sometimes tend to think it does. Sometimes like I don't know, just connecting with people and being real. Well, this show, right? For example, I mean, I don't know, like we've had some success. Maybe it'll become more. So, but that was kind of the idea behind this show. This is not produced at all, right? We just now I'm. It's produced. We have a producer, but what I mean is that the show.
No, we have an editor. We're not a producer.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a guy that literally just listens to it once to make sure that we don't say a few certain things, and then he tacks on the intro and outro and uploads it.
And provides the show note. Yeah, I guess so. So there's not like little
This isn't a high-quality production with a team of people coordinating things and doing makeup and lighting. And I mean, maybe John does makeup, but
a little bit.
I don't.
But anyway, it's pretty much raw, right? So there's something to be said about just like the raw and connecting, and then you can add the production stuff for polish later. But but the most successful YouTube video channel in history. 25 million subscribers is basically not produced in any way, and it's just crazy just talking about, I mean, no script, just, hey, I'm playing a video game and look at this, I'm a flying goat or whatever,
And I've been saying that to the Signalleaf audience for a while now. It's not about production quality, it's not about being perfect, it's about getting it out there and making those connections with your audience.
Yeah, and being able to, and that's the thing is like if it's a barrier to production, it's better to just produce, right? I guess another example, like Daring Fireball, right?
Right.
This guy, his blog is like crazy, and I mean, there's no production quality to it at all. It's just bam, this is just a couple of sentences, quote someone, put it on there. I mean, you know, not to discredit the work he does, but it's just like blah, blah. But it's a lot of blah.
I think a lot of this comes back to what Josh was talking about last week, and what I've been thinking about ever since that shitty ads idea is really stripping down the production and getting rid of the polish and the shiny and the design and all of the frills and things that we think are supposed to be there, and really getting back to just the message and just getting down to, okay, here's, you know, the thing that I'm about, and this is it, raw, unfiltered, it's me. You don't have to filter through all this production crap. You don't have to, you know, go through all of these things just to get to the point of what I'm saying. It's just what I'm saying without anything else.
Right. I think production quality matters to the extent that it detracts from that, though. You know.
Yeah.
Like, Sean, if you recorded that video on your iPad in a Starbucks, right? And like somebody spilled coffee on you while you're recording, you know, like that would distract from the message. But as long as it's, you know, enough quality that it's not distracting, then you're kind of good to go, at least for a long time, you know, until people start to expect more.
Well, although it might be, I mean, if someone spilled the coffee on me, and then the video title would be like, John smacks a bitch. John gets up and says, "Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke him?"
Well, you want to get attention generally, but you want it to be relevant attention, right?
Yeah, that's probably true.
But no, but yeah, you're right. I mean, there's some degrees to, I don't know. I haven't figured this out, but I have sort of settled on the fact that it's better to produce a lot of stuff, right? That is not crap, right? I mean, there's a difference between like just producing a bunch of crap, right?
Right.
But things that have value, but the value is in, I think, like Derick said, the message, right? Rather than it being in the frills and the production quality of it. And you can add that later. And if you're making money off of a thing, then you can pay someone to put in production quality potentially, you know, if you want to. But
well, it's like I saw a discussion on Quora at one point where somebody asked the question, why is Dropbox hiring so many brilliant designers? And the person asking the question said something like, why do they need so many brilliant designers? This is such a simple product. They don't need that many designers. And the answer, of course, is, why do they need so many designers? Because it's such a simple product. Because it takes that many brilliant people to make such a complex thing that simple. And so you can go down the path of hiring high-quality producers and designers and everything, and if you're getting paid and you're making money and you're doing things at that level, then you absolutely should pay for that. But you need to make sure that you're paying for simplicity and minimalism, not sparse and rude and crude and janky, but minimalism and perfection in the idea of getting rid of everything that doesn't need to be there, including reducing words, reducing design, reducing everything that is going to distract from the message. So I think there's a lot of value in doing that and going down that path, not paying for frills and whistles and bells that you don't need, but paying somebody to really reduce it down to its essence.
And to some degree, you need the traction first, I think, or if it's, I guess the big thing is like the whole production quality barrier becomes a roadblock to people that prevents them from actually doing something where it's like, yes, it's pretty cool that I'm able to produce high quality, high def YouTube videos but like that shouldn't be the barrier to entry. I've got like nowhere near the subscribers that this guy has. I might actually have done better if I produced 2 or 3 YouTube videos a week just on my iPad, just like bam, 5 minutes, here we go, talking about some subject. that might have actually been a better road. So it's interesting too, like even in the developer environment, right? Because I just written a blog post about like the I can't remember what the title was, but it was essentially like that both the like perfectionist type of software craftsman and the cowboy coder seem to be effective, but it actually turns out that the cowboy coder seems to get a lot more crap done. Like the whole duct tape programmer, that Joel Spolsky, that I've always been against that, right? I've always said no. I don't care what your proof you're showing. That's bullcrap, right? But actually I was wrong, because what it turns out is that that's kind of the production quality thing. It's like if you actually just get a whole bunch of work done, like even if it's not the most beautiful building that you've built, that's actually from an artistic programmer standpoint, which is where I was viewing things before I became an entrepreneur. That's crap, right? You just built some crappy building. But from a, hey, are we gonna like make money off of this product type of entrepreneur type of viewpoint, it's actually, the appeal is the other way. It's like, well, when I look at it from that perspective, I'm like, wow, sometimes cowboy coders, if you're going to bet your money, I'd bet on the cowboy coder horse rather than the software craftsman horse, even though I'd rather be the software craftsman. If I'm going to hire someone to do some stuff for me and get stuff done, not to say that a software craftsman can't, but it's more likely that the guy that's got a history of getting stuff done and maybe building, maybe some ugly bridges is going to get the stuff done.
See, I want both, and I think it's necessary to have both. I think if you say only cowboy coders or only software craftsmen, you're in for a world of trouble.
That's a good point,
because they both serve a purpose at different times. When I'm building the current application that I'm building for the healthcare organization just south of here, it started out as garbage, and I very rapidly produced working code that was complete garbage, and I was okay with that. It was total cowboy code, slinging stuff left and right to prove that it would work, to get the basic ideas done and in place, and that was perfectly fine. But as I moved forward and continued to work on the code, I continued to refine it. I erased the garbage, I threw it out the window, and I put better production quality code in place, because I knew that as I moved forward, I needed to be able to maintain quality of code in order to maintain productivity within that code. So a cowboy coder needing to get something done, yeah, I'm all for it. I produce crap all the time, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But I'm also of the mindset that if I want to be able to maintain something long term, I have to be able to produce quality once the cowboy code time is gone and past, so that I can maintain my productivity within that code base.
Which is the focus. It's like having the message. It's the same type of thing. Like there's some people who are software craftsmen because they want the production quality.
Right, and because they need it, because they're producing big, long-term, large-scale projects for whatever reason.
Yeah, but the production quality is not as important as like where is the core underlying value? Some people can produce the value by building beautiful skyscrapers. Other people can produce the value by building, rickety bridges. But I don't want to say rickety bridges, but wherever the value is, and it's the same thing with everything that we do. I think in life, and the whole thing. Josh sent that email with the offer versus the marketing versus the market, right? Like that, and like a big section of that was the offer, right? That was like, was that 40%?
40% offer, 40% is the market. So of the success of a product, given product, 40% is the offer, which is, the packaging, the pricing, what you're actually selling. 40% is the market, like who you're selling to, and then 20% is everything else. That's in copywriting, advertising strategy, all that stuff.
So what that basically means to me is, I can have a Geospaces 1980 website, right? And I just have a good offer, like this is really good deal, and I don't, my marketing is suck or whatever, but it fits the market, which is kind of tied. The offer and the market are kind of tied together because the offer is only good by virtue of the market. Of it fitting that market, and so but that's the key. That's the value. That's where the value is, and the rest, like the marketing and that other stuff, is production quality. But the value, but we have the tendency to focus at least I do, on a lot of things on production quality as the number one thing.
Yeah, and there's a fine line between production quality and overproducing something. I mean, I hear it in music all the time. I was a music major in college, and I went over the extremes on both ends of garbage and overproduced, and so I can hear the more appropriate balance these days when I listen to music. And the same thing happens in software development. You can write garbage, and it really is garbage. It's unusable. And you can write cowboy code, duct tape code, whatever you want to call it, and it serves the purpose and gets the job done. And you can write, well-crafted, good software, and you can have it, be the thing that is needed to maintain long-term, and then you can overproduce that software and create things that are just completely over-engineered. Yeah. There was a blog post 4 or 5 years ago on the Industrial Logic website that was talking about the good enough quality and turning up and down the dial as needed. And he was talking about, I think it was Joshua Kirievsky, however you pronounce his name. He was talking about how they had this chunk of code that did something, and at the time they knew that they needed to get it done fast, so they got it done fast. And they kept telling themselves, "Oh, we're gonna come back to this and we're gonna fix it. We're gonna make it better." And over the next 2 years or however long it was, they never once had to go back and touch that code. It was good enough.
Yeah.
They left it alone because it served the purpose. It was isolated so that it didn't interfere with the quality of anything else they were touching. It got things done, and it was difficult to look at and maintain, but they never had to do anything significant other than a few tweaks or minor bug fixes, and so they left the code alone, and it was good enough. And I think the same can be applied to any production that you're doing, whether it's a blog post, an email, a podcast, videos, whatever it is. As long as the quality is good enough to not be distracting, like Josh was saying, then that's all you really need. Anything above and beyond that, might help convince a few more people or be the extra whistles and bells. It kind of comes down to the individual person and the team. When I look at my code, I think, oh man, that's crap. How did I ever think that was good enough? But somebody else looks at that same code that I'm talking about and goes, wow, that's brilliant. I wish I could have written that.
Right.
So it's a matter of perspective as well. It's what you're used to, what you've become accustomed to, the patterns and principles and practices that are ingrained into you versus someone else.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think it depends on what your ultimate goal is,
right.
Like which is part of that principle. What you believe. I mean, because there's art, right, and then there's functional things,
right,
and the two are really conflicting goals. So
right.
It's like, and it can be in software too, because like I know when I like to write code, I like to make my software art. That's what makes me feel good about the software, is more of the art aspect. I mean, it has to, it looks good. It's like, but I know that I'm choosing that choice for the software, the code that I like to write.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm working for someone else, when I'm writing for a client, I'm more focused on the functional, because that's the important thing to them. Which part of the functional is that it has to be maintainable and it has to make sense, and all of that. But I think there are the two distinct goals, and it's like you said, even with the music, I think that's sometimes the music is to communicate a message, but sometimes it is just art, and so the production quality is the thing that is the important thing, because that is the art. Or someone could have the same thing with the YouTube video. Are you trying to get a message, or are you trying to produce something that is beautiful, that you love?
Right.
And if that's the case, then it's different roads. I think
right.
When you try to combine those roads, that's when you end up in some big trouble, because you can't do either one well. It's an unfocused,
Yeah, it's a spectrum that you need to figure out where you need to be. And I'm the kind of person that advocates exploring the edges and boundaries and extremes on a regular basis. Practice the boundaries. Practice at the edges. Take whatever it is that you're thinking about and run with it as far as you can down off the edge of the cliff to find out where it falls apart and where it will no longer work and where the problems are with that philosophy or principle or pattern or whatever it is. Figure out where the edges are by taking it to an extreme and failing with it on the extremes.
Yeah,
and do it on all of the extremes of whatever it is you're talking about, so that you can have a better understanding of where the extremes are and be able to find the appropriate balance that you need for any given project that you're working with. That's
a good point. Otherwise, it's theoretical.
Right.
We always talk in theoreticals, like until you actually like are willing to. That didn't work. So.
Yep.
Awkward pause.
I was going to see how long.
Poor production quality. No, I was actually going to mention that earlier. A lot of people. So back to podcasting and quality. There's that statistic about like 80% of all podcasts fail before they get to episode 8, and in my experience in talking with people that are shutting down podcasts, the number one reason is the amount of time that it takes to produce a podcast episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I take the approach in the podcast episodes that I've done of I don't care about editing. I'm going to record this thing, I'm going to put it out there, and I'm done. I don't go through a lot of editing and process and post-production. Rob Connery with This Developer's Life, he puts a lot of effort into editing, and he produces some absolutely brilliant stories out of the editing that he does. And I love listening to This Developer's Life because of that. But that's not for me. That's not what I want to do. I want to hit record. I want to hit publish. I want to be done. I want to do like what you did with your iPad, John.
Yeah.
Just hit record and be done with it, because I don't need the production quality beyond hit record, hit stop, and upload.
Also, didn't Rob kind of burn out on that? Like at least when don't think I'm subscribed to it right now, but yeah, I hadn't seen any new episodes in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done that. There were a lot of circumstances that prevented them from being able to continue, and it is a lot of work, and so I'm not really surprised that they aren't producing on a regular basis.
Well, that's one thing too, and that's a really good point, the burnout side of it, because you can't be passionate about production quality. It's the thing
unless that's your job. Unless you get paid for production quality.
Yeah, but even to some degree, you're not inventing. We're inspired by creation.
Yeah.
And creation is not the first time maybe or so you go and you do something, right? But if it's a repeated process, right, it becomes automatable, even if it's not mechanically automatable, but it's like, okay, now I got to go and edit out the ums. Now I'm going to put in splash screens and split screens and all this fade outs and
that's why we hired an editor.
Oh yeah. Not to say that some people don't enjoy doing that kind of thing, but if you're trying to do a thing and you have to do production type of things, that the higher the production quality, the more likely I think that you're going to burn out on a thing, because the more stuff you're doing that's not directly related to the thing.
Yeah, unless you literally walk. I think Derick Halpern, when he does his videos, they're pretty good quality, and I think he just walks into a studio, takes off his jacket, stands there and does his thing. Probably records a bunch of them at once, and then walks out.
Right.
Well, yeah, and he's got
get that type of setup going.
And you got to look at it too. If you watch his videos closely, there's a lot of cuts in there. There's a lot of framing, right? So and then he's obviously talking to someone. So he's walking into a place where he has a video producer that is actually shooting the video, and there's a script to some degree. It's a very produced thing that he's made it probably somewhat automatable, because he's probably hiring someone to handle a lot of that, to do the camera for him, to do that, so that he's got it. And he's definitely shooting multiple ones in a day. I can tell he's batching them up just by his hair
and his clothing.
Yeah, that's how you can tell. But yeah, he's hit the point where he's using someone else's resources, so that probably on his focus is more focused, right? And then he's also got a very clearly defined focus with his business. It's not branched out into a million different places. It's like, you know, one of his primary things is to produce YouTube videos that are of high quality.
So. Yeah, so this creates an interesting segue for me, because where John mentioned burning out with doing things that aren't directly related to the creation, and that's kind of where I'm getting these days with the whole marketing aspect of being an entrepreneur. I'm quite frankly getting tired of it. I'm tired of writing, you know, ads and producing images and trying to get people to sign up for my mailing list. It's getting to the point where I don't want to do that anymore, because it takes too much time and effort for me, because I'm not that good at it, and the results that I get out of it are not what they need to be. And so I want to get back to writing code. I want to get back to writing blog posts, which, that's content marketing, but that's the kind of content production that I want to do. I don't want to do marketing. I don't want to do sales and advertising. I want to do content production, but the kind of content that I like to produce, blog posts and email courses and videos, and I want to write code, and I want to get features put in place, and I want to have, you know, all these. I want to get back to the things that I was doing that made me want to go independent in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired of marketing. I'm tired of talking about marketing. I'm tired of doing marketing. I'm burning out on that aspect of things, because it's not related to what I want to do with my life. It's necessary, because I'm not going to be able to sell things if I don't have some marketing effort.
Right.
I need to find a way to get me out of the marketing side so that I can focus on the production side and let somebody else do the marketing.
What on a week-to-week basis, like what types of marketing stuff are you doing?
Twitter advertisements for the email courses. I have to maintain those. I haven't advertised my object-oriented design course in 2 or 3 weeks now, because I just can't pull a good idea for a title and an image out of my brain anymore. I look at what I need to do with that, and I'm just going, how do I say this? How do I show this in an image? I don't know what to do with it. So there's the Twitter ads, there's the sponsorships, which are costing me an arm and a leg right now. Some of those are working out okay, like the JavaScript Jabber sponsorship. I've had like 32 people sign up for the JavaScript Jabber discount code for Watch Me Code, so that's pretty awesome. So that's working out for me. That one I've kind of got on autopilot at this point. I just pay the sponsorship fee and let it run. But I have other sponsorships that I'm trying to get in place. I've got one for Craig McKeeche's product set that he built that I need to build a landing page for, and I'm just going, I don't want to build another landing page. I don't want to figure out what I need to say about this product suite, and I don't want to take the time. I don't want it. It just gets so frustrating, because it's so many things that I don't want to do, but it's necessary, and I have to do it because I'm not going to be able to sell anything. I'm not going to be able to make a living. I'm not going to be able to grow my audience. I'm not going to be able to do whatever without doing these things.
Well, it might be worth looking at what you're doing. Like, I mean, like the Twitter ads and the sponsorships and stuff, and figure out, like, are these, so usually with advertising, like, it's hard to even break even until you kind of really know what you're doing. Once you figure it out, if you can put enough testing in place and stuff, you can start to turn a profit. But if, for us, that's pretty tough. Like, to get to that level of detail is
incredibly
pretty tough.
difficult.
It's very, very difficult. So it might be worthwhile to just stop all of it. And honestly, like right now, like this is not a good time of year, at least for me. I look back at last year, and all of my kind of frustrations over the last few months, like I realized that my sales pattern is mapping pretty closely to what happened last year. Mm-hmm. And which is the main thing that's frustrating about it is that I have made so much progress in so many areas. But last year my sales were basically flat. Like March through the end of August, and then in September, boom, it picked up again, and I was shocked. Like I was last year, I was pretty down all summer, thinking, this thing's dying on me, and then September came and my head was spinning because it just kind of picked up on its own. So I mean, I would say it's probably worth just dialing all that stuff back. And the stuff that you talked about is what's gotten you this far anyway. I think I would still try to keep people coming on your email list, but do just more through organic, through your blog, not worry about the Twitter stuff, because we don't really know. Like the Twitter stuff, we have had a lot of success getting people signed up, but not had a lot of success getting buyers out of that.
Yeah.
So it's you're probably, I don't know, you're probably not. It's probably not the best use of time and energy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too, and I think there's different seasons too. Is what I'm finding. Like if you don't have the motivation, like it's better than quitting is to redirect to something you do have the motivation to that is productive. Otherwise, it becomes, just give up and play video games or. Right. So it's
I've through those cycles.
And maybe put a little bit of energy into instead of the stuff that you named, like maybe put a little bit of energy into promoting your blog. Like like one thing I'm going to be doing with my posts is trying to find ways to use every post should have like at least something extra that I can use. So like maybe I mention somebody who has a big audience, and then I can ping them and try to get them to mention my post. So like little things that I can do, or like that huge epic post that I sent you guys, where he talked about like looking at all the backlink, like finding an epic piece of content, building a better one, then going out and finding all the sites that link to that and contacting them and saying, hey, I just did this, it's better. I'm gonna try to find ways like that to get more mileage out of.
That's the side of things that I hate doing though. I want to write the content.
Right.
I can't stand going and doing that work to get it in front of people like that.
But that could be outsourced, honestly. Or at least chunks of it. Like I might try to do is hire somebody to do the backlink research for me, and then I just sit down and spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes and just crank out a bunch of emails. Have somebody dig up the email addresses, and then I just sort of sit down and send them all out from my account. You can even automate that to some extent.
And the thing is, too, even if you don't feel like doing it right now, right? You can always go back and do it. Like, if you feel like producing content, like, you can always go back. You can take old content and you can do the backlink thing. You could do whatever is necessary. Just try to find the thing, I think, that's most interesting to you right now that still moves you forward in your goals, I think.
Apparently right now I'm interested in writing blog posts because I've written 6 posts in the last 4 days.
Wow, yeah. Then roll with that. And that takes back to that. What's that book, the Superman? Remember, you know what I'm talking about, Josh? Superman something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this the ad? No, I don't know it.
No, the book about flow, Superman.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the title of it.
But there's a book called Superman something, Superman Sun. I don't know what it is, but but anyway, that flow. I think because I heard the guy on the Art of Manliness podcast, and then he was on that marketing one as well. But when he's talking about the book, he's talking about the idea of the flow, and then like using it to using the momentum like where it makes sense, right? Because if you have this energy and you're in that flow zone and you can get motivated and excited about a thing, then you can like do a bunch of that, and that's going to be like recognizing that pattern. So maybe it wasn't that book, but I don't know. I thought it was, but anyway, just this idea. I heard the concept somewhere where someone was talking about this idea of like of going with the natural. Not fighting against the current, but going with the flow of the thing that you're interested in, that is still productive, that moves you forward, so that if it's, I guess it like my example would be, And I'm violating this, by the way, right? Because I produce like a YouTube video, a podcast, blog post, right? Every week it's this consistent set of things. And then, but maybe I'd be more effective if I said, man, this week I just totally feel like making YouTube videos. That's awesome stuff. I'm going to just do that. And then I make like 50 of them. Or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's like, oh, but this week I feel like, I'm really into fitness, so I could really produce some great fitness podcast, Get Up and Code. So I'm going to just do a bunch of that. Or this week, man, I'm excited about marketing, so I'm going to work on that. But it might be the same amount of work altogether over that time span, but like every piece of that thing would be higher quality because it was stuff that you felt like that your heart was into when you produced it, as opposed to something you had to do because damn, I just got to write the stupid blog post. Ugh.
Well, that's exactly what turned into that comment about that I forwarded to you guys on the email list about how everything that I write is spammy and why am I doing this and does this even work and it was that exact situation. It was like, oh crap, okay, this is freaking amazing. Pragmatic Programmers is selling my ebook. I'm 10,000 kinds of excited about that. And I sat down to write a blog post and an email announcement about that, and I just went, I don't want to write this. So I wrote the most awful garbage of marketing spammy stupid that came out of my head, and it was terrible, and I probably lost way more people from my mailing list than I should have. And I'm okay with doing that on my blog for some reason. It's like, okay, it's a blog post, I can be all happy, stupid, whatever, the way I want to. But I've got this idea that the mailing list needs to be more well done so I don't lose subscribers and whatnot, because it's pulling up MailChimp right now, and I lost 10 subscribers on that one email, and my average.
That's less than.
Well, let me put it in perspective. The day prior, when I sent out my weekly email on career advice and stuff, I lost 4.
Yeah,
which is average.
You sent emails on consecutive days too.
Yeah,
you would have lost more on that second email probably no matter what.
Yeah. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's not worth it. Like you're fine. Yeah. Like don't sweat that. Yeah. Don't sweat that seriously, because you definitely don't need to even worry about that at all.
It's not like I'm losing subscribers overall. Even since yesterday, I sent that email to 2219 subscribers. And my list right now, one day later, is at 2230 after losing 10 people.
Right.
So I've gained 30 people in the last day.
Yeah. And so if that makes you uncomfortable too, like you can also just make it, it doesn't have to be so commercial. Like you could have just sent like, hey, guys, Pragmatic Programmers just picked up my book. I'm really excited. End of email.
That's almost literally what it was. It had a screenshot of their website. Yeah. And it said, "Holy crap! I'm really excited about it."
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a paragraph from the sales page, and that was it.
Yeah. That's not spammy. Yeah. I'm sorry.
This goes. Yeah.
Spam is spammy. Spam would be. You know what spam would be? Spam would be you suckering people onto your email list and then going out and finding every single programming ebook out there that has an affiliate program, and then sending out 2 offers a day to your list and hammering them until they whimper for whimper in submission. I mean that's spamming. Like
that sounds like a viable business opportunity.
It is. People make money doing that. I mean,
I could set up a completely separate list just to do that.
If you can get enough people on your list, that'll work. You'll make money doing that. But it's also.
I would hate that. God.
Yeah, you'll probably hate yourself. But
that sounds awful.
And it goes back again to that whole don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
Who so big freaking whoop? Oh, okay. So I'm a spammer according to this guy.
It's been such an up and down week, it's so Pragprog released my book, which is amazing. That guy that spawned the How Do You Focus email
that was
emailed me
amazing.
back, and
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is changing his life around and doing some amazing things. Which, by the way, I want to plug what he's doing. Give me a second.
Yeah, he's doing Meteor.js stuff. And
I love Meteor. Meteor is awesome. I did a
the dude is doing some amazing stuff, and very directly attributed the productivity and the things that he's doing to these emails that I've been sending to the list, and specifically to the email that Josh wrote for my list, and the contact that he's had with you, Josh. And so it's amazing. It's like that right there. That's why I want to do this stuff, because I love helping these guys, and I want to make some money when I'm doing it too. So I'm trying to find the right balance. But then, I get that comment, "Oh, you're so spammy. I've been signed up for your list for so long, and I'm getting tired of it." And that's the only thing I can think about. I don't remember the good things that happened because of
honestly,
that.
When you get crap like that, I know that that's going to emotionally take a toll on you, and it takes a toll on me knowing that it's going to take a toll on you. When I see that, I'm like,
I bring down the whole freaking network.
Yeah, poor Derick, you guys, if you send email, somebody's going to complain that it's spam.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. And your stuff, the stuff that you're sending out is really good. It's not.
Yeah.
Yes, you are plugging stuff in it, but it is not. You're not sending pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch. You are sending, really good stuff out that helps people.
Trying to.
Yeah. It comes down to this too, which is kind of weird because like I said, I'm a big violator of most of the things I say, but
but do what I say, not what I do.
Yeah, exactly. But you know how people say, well, just be who you are. People will like who you are, right? Yeah. For the longest time, I was like, no, that's total bull crap. Like, you need to carefully orchestrate your image and carefully present who you want to be perceived as, and while there's some truth that to the fact that you should have a good image to the way to achieve it is to make yourself a better person, like a better version of yourself, to genuinely improve yourself, right? But the whole time being yourself, like the most effective thing, again, going back to that PewDiePie or whatever, the YouTube guy, right? He is just totally just saying whatever is coming to his mind, using just talking like he's in a room by himself, probably is, but you see what I'm saying? Like, he's totally genuine, 100% him. It's right, and that's what people are connecting with, even though it's stupid and silly and ridiculous, right? And it's the same thing. It's like when we're writing blog posts, when we're doing newsletters, when we're doing whatever we're doing, if we can connect with that, and that's where I say I'm not doing that because it's friggin' hard to do. It's being in the zone. It's being vulnerable. It's when you're typing that email and it's like you're not looking at the word count because it's just coming out. It's just flowing, right? It's just this is when you've hit that zone and it's like, and you're being 100% genuine. It's just what you think, and I don't know. That's the most effective thing. It's hard to do though, right? But I think that's a lot of. So I guess why I'm saying this is because, like, with your emails, I don't know. I mean, if you just like are putting out what you honestly think, and you're just hey, I'm sharing this thing, whatever. That's going to be the if you can hit closest to that, that's going to be the most effective thing that you could possibly do. So don't worry about that. I mean.
A big part of it is being vulnerable, though. You have to be willing to be vulnerable, and I think I do a pretty good job of being willing to do that. I've learned the hard way over the last 12 years of blogging that being vulnerable in my blog and whatnot generally brings a lot of criticism, but also a lot of opportunity for me to improve. I mean, I've had to take some just god-awful comments from people and really dig and find the point of what they were saying and improve based on that. And I've created a few good friends out of that.
Yeah.
There were a number of times where people would respond to my blog post with their own blog post about how stupid I am and how horrible that idea was, and I would read it and cry and be offended and eventually get over that and figure out what they were trying to say and learn from that and contact them and follow up with it and create friends out of it because they were right and I learned something.
Right, and that's yeah.
But it's so freaking difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some interesting things about this around the web lately. The guy that wrote the Ghost blogging platform had this giant post about this kind of stuff, about being yourself and not giving into the censorship that comes with notoriety and fame, and the self-imposed censorship, which I am right smack in the middle of that. For as small as my audience is, having 5,000 followers on Twitter and 2,000 people on my email list, I find myself constantly deleting tweets and deleting emails and deleting stuff because I'm afraid of what people are going to think if I said that in front of this large audience that has certain expectations of me. And that drives me nuts. I hate that I do that. Frankly, a lot of times it's good that I do delete those. Yeah. Some of them are pretty awful. But there's a lot of them that also I think, man, I wish I could actually say this without incurring the stupidity and the wrath and the whatever of the people that I know that are going to read this.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a big difference between saying whatever is on your mind, right? I still think that you should avoid politics and things like that. Like, you should just post, I hate whatever. Right?
And those are the ones that I'm glad I delete.
That makes sense.
Politics and religion, and I get away from those. I delete those, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't send that.
Yeah, it's just when you're talking about something of value, can you bring yourself to it, like, or do you have like all these things that are even the whole thing, like, right, the being correctable, like you write a post and you're vulnerable. There's also a fake vulnerability temptation, which is like, to not say, I think you're just a dickwad. I mean, seriously, like, you might be right, but you're still a dickwad, like, or man, that really hurt. That was a low blow. Like there's this fake vulnerability where we're like, how can I say this in the most politically correct, like, tactful way that shows that I'm humble, but then I've gone the opposite way. It's like, it's so hard to walk that, like, there's that narrow path of actually being real.
Right.
That I don't know, I find it extremely hard. There's sometimes when I connect with them, like, man, this email was just like, that was me, and then usually I get like bunch of feedback back, like, oh yeah, that was awesome, I like that, but it's so freaking hard to do, and then again, you have to keep the tiger in the cage, because like you said, you can't just like tweet all these things, like your political opinions and stuff that doesn't actually add any value to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know. It's hard. It's like I said. I'm not doing it. I'd like to be better at it. But I know when I've seen it. I know it. I know it's there because I've seen El Dorado. I saw it sparkling, and I've in my dream I was there. So
in your dream you were Nicolas Cage, and it's hard. I mean there was some tweets from Jen Schiffer a couple days ago, yesterday I think, where she basically said she's tired of people being assholes and tired of people telling her to get over it, and I'm right there with her on that. I'm tired of people being rude, and I'm tired of having to grow a thick skin. I'm tired of people telling me to not be offended by it. Honestly, it hurts. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will scar me for life.
Yeah, but see, the proper response is not to lash out to those people. It's to be like, that hurts.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is like, so many people are like, oh, I'm gonna, like, whatever, rape culture and all this and stuff, and it's like, I mean, but you know what I mean. I don't mean that specifically, but I mean just that kind of sentiment doesn't make things better. It doesn't. If you hate people who hate people, Everyone has the right to hate people. You can't hate people for hating people. That doesn't make any sense. But that's what everyone is. That's a big thing, right? It's like for hating people. I mean, showing vulnerability is saying, "Ouch, that hurt. That really hurt." Hey, Charlie, bit. You know what I mean? It's not that whole, like, it's letting people be assholes, but letting them see that actually did hurt. That was like getting hit with a stick. But I mean, it's not easy to do. It's easier to just call them an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. So I replied to that guy that called me a spammer. And I basically avoided his commentary on the quality of information. I mean, I did the typical me thing where I ignored all of the offensive, abrasive stuff and replied to the questions that he was asking.
Yeah.
And he was asking whether or not those types of emails work, and my response was, yes, it works. I mean, a year ago, I looked at MailChimp, and a year ago, I had less than 500 people on my mailing list, and I just sent an email to 2,200 people this morning or yesterday. So I mean, I've more than quadrupled the size of my mailing list. I've managed to go independent again. I get around a third of my income every month from products and sales and services and whatnot, and so yeah, it works, but I screw up, I do stupid things, I send crappy emails, I make mistakes. So frickin' what? I'm not spamming people with the Justin Bieber F you buy my stuff which I wish I could find that image again. I've been trying to find it in our mailing list again because it's so awesome.
Yeah, just go to the Google group or something and say,
pull it up again, and I gotta save that somewhere because that's such a perfect image.
Yeah, but no, I really do think that the path to ultimate success is being able to, I don't want to say follow your dream, but being able to be who you are, and I mean, you got to work hard. You got to improve the kind of person that you are through to always trying to grow yourself.
Right.
But when you can do that, that's when you hit the most success. And it's when you really don't care what other people think. It doesn't mean that you don't care how the world works or that you don't make money or I'm just gonna. But it means when you seriously don't care what other people think.
So that
you're.
Yeah. So there's an interesting story I have there. I know a person who is incredibly concerned with what people think about them. That this person is obsessive about it, to the point where they get really upset if they think they have offended somebody else. They are incredibly concerned with what other people think about them.
Yeah.
And I think it's to a fault that they are like that, because the concern that they should have, in my view, in my relationship with this person, the way that I see what this person should be doing is not thinking about what other people think of them. Rather, they should be thinking about other people. Meaning, stop thinking about yourself and the perception of other people about you. Start thinking about other people, about how you can help other people, about how you can benefit them, about what's best for them, instead of, did I offend them? What can I say to not offend them? What can I say to make them happy? What can I say to keep the perception of me elevated? And I'm making a very extreme example because I don't think that this person is so far down that extreme as I'm saying here, but I see it every now and then, and it bothers me, and it bothers me because I know I tend to be that way as well. And it's like everything else in life, we point out the problems in other people that we don't like about ourselves.
Right.
And so I think you're right, John. If you can be the best you and stop worrying about what other people think about you, and instead think about other people, worry about other people and how you can help other people, then that's where you really do find success, and you find massive growth in influence and capabilities and networks and everything else that we're trying to build up here so that we can be successful in business as well as successful in the things that we're doing to help people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about that. The image that comes to my mind is there was this movie. Was it called Big Daddy or something? Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, Big Daddy.
Okay, there's one scene in the movie where the kid, this like about 6 or 7-year-old kid, pisses himself at like a field trip to the zoo.
Oh no, that wasn't Big Daddy. That was the one where he goes back to school because he has to graduate.
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. Okay, that's the one. Okay, but then
I just gave myself away.
Right.
No, it's a great. I love Adam Sandler movies. Can I say that and not be?
I'm offended. I am offended by that, Derick.
At least it's not Pauly Shore. But anyway, Billy Madison.
But he comes out and I don't know if I think he splashed water on himself. Maybe he did piss himself. I don't know. But
no, he splashed water.
Yeah, to make it look like.
The kid peed his pants right before getting on the bus, and so Adam Sandler's character goes to the water fountain and splashes water on his pants and convinces everybody else that it's cool to pee your pants.
Yeah, and so I think that was the kind of, that's when I think of really like not caring what people think because there's no way to quit. Like a lot of times you can like do something that's self-sacrificial, but it's for the purpose. But there's no one that's like peeing your pretending to pee your pants for any reason would be. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a totally not caring what people think, but caring about people. There's like example.
Being a martyr for the purpose of the attention of being a martyr versus, being a martyr and nobody notices and you don't care because you did the right thing and it helps somebody else out.
Right. And that's the kind of genuineness that people connect with, I think. Which is hard. It's hard because
I struggle with that a lot actually. I've done some things recently that I think are above and beyond the call, and it's really hard not to talk about them. I mean, even with you guys, knowing that this podcast is recorded, I don't want to say what those things were because I know that other people are listening, and it's this constant struggle of doing the right thing for the right reasons, not because I want anybody else to say, good job, Derick.
Well, but see, that to some degree is caring what people think, right?
It is.
It's good or bad. It's like you just are who you are, like, and whatever you did, that's there's no harm in saying it. I don't think, but.
Yeah, it's.
What did you do good, Derick? We want to know.
Doesn't matter.
We want to know.
If you pay attention to the things that I tweet, you probably could have figured it out.
Oh yeah, but I don't watch Twitter. I just.
So I drop subtle hints by suggesting things on Twitter. That's my version of telling people about the things that I do.
All right, I'm going to the Twitter.
Good luck finding the most by 35,000 tweets.
Stop tweeting so much. Damn it.
I gotta mix something altruistic into the buy my shit.
Oh, it's Mentos.
No, that was the retweet of Jen Schiffer. Haters can go. Fly the bird.
I don't know.
No, it's. So Josh, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good actually. I started SitePoint this week.
Awesome.
So got all up and running there. Got all my accounts set up and everything, and I'm just starting to get into doing a little bit of editing. It's pretty sweet. Like I'm getting to see how they run a big website. Right. And I have access to Google Analytics, so I can play with the numbers, and so it's been fun getting oriented there. We use Trello to manage the articles and everything, and
nice.
A little scary, honestly, because my editor, the editor-in-chief, is basically just kind of hands the keys over to you and says, "All right, this is your channel now. Have fun. If there's anything you're worried about, let me know. But otherwise, just do what you do."
Yep.
She doesn't want to have to worry about it, so. Yeah, I did. So yesterday I did my first kind of preliminary edit on an article, and I forgot how much I like doing this. Like I'm gonna have a lot. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Awesome.
This is what I did basically all through college, and then my first 5 years out of college, I worked on the student newspaper in college, and then I worked like as an editor basically for alumni magazines for 2 different colleges. Loved that job. And only reason I really got out of doing that was because I couldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Or there were no jobs basically. Like there's not a lot in this area for PR and advertising and that type of thing. You have to go to New York or some bigger cities. But yeah, I really like that type of work. So I think I'm gonna thrive doing this.
Nice.
So, yep. Yeah, and the team seems pretty cool. They're all based out of Australia. So
nice.
The editor-in-chief is from Canada. She moved down there. She's living down there now. But yeah, so it's the time difference is going to be fun. like her, early in the morning for her is like midnight for me. So
it's like
lunchtime.
It's like a 16-hour time difference, 18 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's an awkward. And then it crosses the date line too. So like so I think it's a day later. It's mind bending.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna try to. I think the key for me with that is really gonna be getting worked ahead, getting scheduled out. I want to work 2 or 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
So I've got a nice buffer, and I think that'll keep the stress levels down.
Definitely.
If I'm trying to work a day, a few days in advance, it's gonna freak me out. That's how like the newspaper is that way by definition.
Yeah.
And that was pretty stressful. I mean, I interned at a newspaper in college, and I really enjoyed it, but it was definitely more stressful because like the one day the editor walked over and she ripped a fax off the fax machine about some astrophysics discovery about black holes, and she hands it to me and she's like, I need an article about this by 4 p.m. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So I had to track the guy down, learn as much as I could ahead of time, track the guy down, interview him, write something that didn't make me sound like a complete idiot.
Yep.
So that's stressful. This I don't think will be too stressful. And they have a nice little group of freelance writers that seem to do this pretty regularly. So like one guy seems to be mainly his full-time job that he just cranks out articles. So we don't pay a lot, but we pay decent enough that somebody could make a living doing it.
Yeah. Well, plus I guess the exposure, right? That like it's
right.
You got the link backs. You've got
right.
You can probably feed a business off of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So. Yeah. So I'm gonna definitely I think I'm gonna do some articles. I'm gonna probably spend the next few weeks just getting into the groove of how the editing process works, and then we're gonna start a probably bi-weekly initially newsletter. So I'm really excited about doing that because the email marketing thing is my favorite thing to do right now. So. So that's going really well. I'm excited about that, and the other thing I've been working on is getting ported over to Entreport from MailChimp. I've officially made the decision to bail on that, and it is so. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful. I'm really excited about it because stuff that we couldn't do that we beat our heads against the wall trying to figure out how to do in MailChimp is so easy. Like it literally takes 5 minutes to set up. So it's got a pretty nice price tag on it. It's $300 a month, but that also has more headroom. Like for MailChimp, I think to get the same number of subscribers, I can get up to 25,000 subscribers with Entreport, and to get that on MailChimp, I'd be paying I think $150 to $200 anyway, just for the mailing list. So it's definitely like some of the stuff I'm thinking about doing. When I send out my initial welcome email, I have a link to a PDF to download a sample of my book.
Right.
And I can send. I'm going to put people onto a sequence where they get a couple reminders. Say, hey, notice you didn't download this. Are you interested? Right. And then as soon as they click that link, they come off that sequence. So I don't have to worry about bothering people.
Right, and that's the kind of automation that GetDrip added recently that I was talking about on the mailing list.
Yeah, tagging. Yeah, it's
I love that idea. That's going to be. Yeah. I'm waiting for Drip to become my Entreport because I don't want to pay for Entreport.
You're locked into a nice low price point on that.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I gave Drip I seriously considered just giving up on MailChimp entirely and going to Drip.
Yeah.
But there were enough things about it that I couldn't do.
Right. There's still quite a few things that Drip doesn't do yet.
Yeah. I love the UI though. I think the UI of all of the apps that I've used so far, I like that UI the best, and I love the way that you can do the drag and drop rearranging of items in the sequence and everything. That's really, really nice. The template editor is beautiful. Like, you have access to the full raw HTML. That's all, super simple and really nice. But yeah, there was just enough that I couldn't do with it that I ended up deciding to go with this. But yeah, it's great. Like, I can and like, remember how we were trying to figure out if there was a way to send the different giveaways depending on where people signed up for your list?
Oh, right.
Piece of cake with Entreport. You can. They have a form generator. I love this feature. Okay, so you've got your list, right, and then you can create sequences, different sequences of autoresponders and stuff. Then you can create. They call them smart forms, which are really just a web form with an ID. And then you can have rules that apply to that form. So when someone signs up using that specific form, they automatically get added to a specific tag. They get a certain, you can add them to certain sequences. So you can kind of based on where they signed up from, you can have all kinds of stuff happen versus MailChimp, where everybody just basically gets dumped onto your list.
Yeah, that's why I signed up for Lead Pages, to use their lead boxes or whatever it is that I'm using, because I wanted to be able to send different things to different people.
And this is Lead Pages has a nice, elegant way of doing that. This is the same basic. You can do the same stuff. It's a little bit more clunky to do that. If you're going to do a different giveaway for every blog post, I still think Lead Pages is a better way to go versus trying to set that all up in Entreport. But yeah, it's really I'm really thrilled with it. I've got to get everything still ported over. I'm paying for both right now, which hurts.
And Entreport, that's the Entreport. That's what happens when you pay the protection money.
Yep.
Yep.
Now I want to switch over to Entreport. It's not the. I mean, the $300 does factor in a little bit, but it's only because I'm so busy right now that I wouldn't be able to actually do this stuff. So I'm definitely be switching.
If I was anywhere near profitable with Signalleaf, it wouldn't be so bad. But I'm spending like $800 a month on Signalleaf right now, and I'm earning like $75.
Yeah.
You're spending that much on bandwidth now at this point?
Between bandwidth and all of the services that I'm using to keep it running, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
John, they have a concierge service.
Entreport does?
Yeah, so they give you 2 free hours of help setting up. Like, it's basically, they'll kind of sit with you on the phone and either talk you through it or help you do parts of it. But then you can pay somebody $75 an hour to migrate you from MailChimp. So that might be worth doing for you because you're making enough.
Well, the migration would be easy. It's more like utilizing the system to actually get the value worth. Besides right now just sending the email. So I need to take the time to go in and fix things up and actually get some kind of value other than just using it as MailChimp. If I'm just going to use it as MailChimp, which is what I'd have to do for now, then I might as well just
use MailChimp. Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm still using MailChimp for my weekly emails, scheduling things out, and I like the UI of MailChimp for what it does, but there's just so many things that it doesn't do, and I'm really hoping that Drip can replace MailChimp for me sometime in the next year, because they're definitely working on some cool things, and if they could make the scheduled email part of things as easy as they made the rest of Drip, then that would replace MailChimp for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rob is a marketing his background. He's a programmer who learned marketing.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's thinking along the same lines that we are. I think.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of actually getting it done.
We just need him to listen to this episode so he can get things done faster the way we want him.
He mentioned you on the last episode of the Startups for the Rest of Us.
Yeah, Startups. He did?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He
awesome.
He talked about a blog post, a featured post on Drip, like a guest post on Drip, about the Twitter cards, and then he said your name specifically. He said Derick.
Yeah, because I saw him tweet that guest post from GetDrip, and I read it, and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is how I'm using Drip right now. And so I tweeted, and I was like, hey, I've been doing exactly this for the last few weeks, and I've gained 1,000 new subscribers on my list because of doing this.
Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah. Glad I'll have to go listen to that episode. I haven't listened to Startups for the Rest of Us in a couple of weeks now, probably closer to a month. I need to go listen to that.
But yeah, I was surprised. It's always weird when I hear one of our names and it's like
I guess it pays to just throw your name around to random places.
Yeah. So this week I did 22 hours of consulting, and I've got this afternoon I'll be doing 3 more hours of consulting.
Don't you get paid $300 an hour for that?
Yeah.
Can I have that, please? Because I could do 1 week of consulting and have my entire month of income.
It was fun though. I actually wrote code this week, so
nice.
It was pretty awesome. I haven't written.
Can you talk about what you're doing at all, or?
I did some code for with the company, so a lot of ServiceStack. I helped them set up their architecture using ServiceStack and Signalleaf.
Nice.
And that was pretty cool. Just figuring out how to get that whole thing set up with a new version of. I hadn't really used the new version of ServiceStack for a while since it went commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just as nice as I remember it. So I really like working with it.
Yeah, we're using ServiceStack at Trackabout for our API, and we're still we're actually using the binary the DLLs for Xamarin to do the client side. So we're using the same code that they use on the server to generate the responses is what we're using to generate requests. So
I decided to go with Web API this week because I was thinking about ServiceStack, but I've never used it. I've heard a lot of great things about it, but I was like, all right, I've used Web API before. I know it well enough to get done what I need to do, and what I need is really simple, so I'm just going to go with what I know.
Okay, you might check it out. I mean, it is so simple, like ServiceStack, to get a service up so quickly that it's just insane, how easy it is to.
Yeah, I was skeptical. I had done some work with Web API before I tried it out as well.
Right.
And I was kind of skeptical about it, and then John kept just going on podcast after podcast talking about it. So I was like, all right. When we finally started to build the Trackabout API, I was like, all right, well, we really need to take a hard look at this. And we're like, holy cow, this is great. So, it's really good.
Does Trackabout now have ASMX web services, WCF web services, Web API web services, ServiceStack?
Yeah. Some of those older ones we've retired, but yes, we do have quite an eclectic mix.
Yeah, it was getting bad when I was there.
Yeah. But we're using ServiceStack. Our customers love the API. We have we use Swagger for the documentation.
Oh yeah, Swagger's awesome.
It's amazing. You've got a web app. You've got a web app that you can use as the documentation that can actually talk to the back end and play with it, experiment with it in real time. Yeah, so it's really nice and it's blowing people away. So
yeah, I'll have to check that out because I can imagine the APIs that I'm building for this little app being used for multiple apps because it's a pretty the app I'm building it's a single page app and it's quite literally a single page.
Yeah.
it's one page with a form on the left and some output on the right based on the inputs and the whole point of it is it uses 15 years worth of medical information and transactional data within this hospital system, and it produces estimates, high, low, medium estimates based on your medical history, your insurance information, and the 15 years of history that they have in the data warehouse for this medical organization. It's going to be just mind-blowingly amazing for this company to be able to have this.
Are you telling me that it tells you when you're going to die, like a specific date and time?
No. No, that was the app that I wrote. That was the first medical app that I wrote.
Derick's like, I'm way past that now.
It'll tell you how much any medical procedure will cost. It'll give you an estimate. It'll give you an actual legitimate cost range for how much this medical procedure will cost you as a person, as an individual.
Yeah, okay. I see. So, in other news, I will be probably going to Philadelphia. We'll see what happens, but
yeah, that's going to be interesting.
My secret company is going.
Not so secret.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but nice. I've committed to becoming a bigger part of it. So
it's an interesting position to be in. It's either be a big part of it and help influence the direction, which gives you the knowledge that success or failure, you did your best and you had your input,
right?
Versus be a really small part of it as a figurehead and let somebody else figure it out, and then you don't have to be concerned with success and failure so much.
Yeah,
it can be a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I think about it too, because this is a startup, right? And we got in an incubator. Dreamit is a pretty big incubator. It's not as big as Y Combinator, but it's still it's pretty close to the same thing as getting into Y Combinator. So it's a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you $50,000, and it's not a small time thing. But the thing is, as a startup, that eventually we'll go through this incubator and then pitch to VCs. It's a huge potential opportunity of hitting that startup, lottery, because if you make it into an incubator, you've already left behind 75% of the competition. You're on your way to make it. So I don't know. So as I thought about it, I was like, well, you can't really pass up this opportunity, because this is sort of a once in a life opportunity. And what if someday I'm like, oh, I want, because I've thought about this. I said, well, maybe someday I will try and do the startup thing and make my own startup and then go through that. But this is here you go. This is the road. You don't have to spend 3 years trying to set this up ahead of time. You're right there. If you're going to do this in your life, you might as well try it. So
one of those what if situations. I hate what ifs, because I almost always take the chance when I think about, and what I mean by what if is, thinking 20 years from now, am I going to wonder what if I had tried this?
Yeah.
What would have happened? What if I had taken that chance? And the reason I hate those situations is because I almost always take the chance. Because I can't stand the idea of not trying and not finding out what's going to happen. And
that's what an entrepreneur does, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it also kind of drives me nuts, because I end up doing things like quitting my job 2 weeks after you guys say, "Hey, Derick, when are you going to quit?"
John, you are. This is fascinating, because you are in a very interesting position on a bunch of this stuff. You have done the self-publishing thing, and now you're also doing, doing the traditional publisher. You've kind of done the small-time info product thing, and now you're jumping into the startup culture. So.
You are far and above 10 times beyond the most successful friend that I have.
It's funny though. I feel like a failure a lot. I appreciate this, but it's just weird, because I just realized it doesn't matter. You're always going to feel like, a failure. And I'm always nervous. I'm like, oh, is the real estate stuff going to be, there's issues, and there's and I'm like, man, have I actually done anything, or am I just propelled forward?
I feel that way about Watch Me Code right now. I mean, I'm hovering at like 350 subscribers. I think I eked above that today at about 354 subscribers on Watch Me Code today finally. And I'm thinking, man, this sucks. Am I actually going to be successful with this? Is it going to be worth my time and effort? And meanwhile, I've brought in more than $2,000 for the month already.
Yeah, I mean that's.
It's a constant struggle to not feel like a failure in these things. I'm losing almost as many subscribers as I'm gaining, but I'm still growing in revenue, which is interesting because most of the people that I'm losing are the $5 subscribers, and I'm gaining $9 and $14 subscribers.
Nice. Well,
yeah, I mean, it's just something that you always face. I guess is just dealing with this. You know, like I said, when I was like, I had to do the YouTube video, and I was like, and now I'm like, man, I should try to get up in code episode. Otherwise, I'm such a big
now that you
failure.
don't have to, you want to.
Yeah, and then even when I was doing consulting this week, I was like, man, like is this really the best use of my time? I mean, this is, you know, it's good money, but you know, and what if I were just an expert in this one area, or like, I don't know, you just start to think like, you know what I mean? Or I'm writing my book and I'm like, man, this is just the crappiest stuff that I'm writing, and but I don't know, I guess you don't really escape that feeling. You just know that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a solution for it. That's the thing, is I just keep on pressing on, feel compelled to keep going, but.
I think the only solution to that is narcissism and sociopathy.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but I'm not being entirely serious. There are plenty of times where I've produced something that I really do think, wow, this is great. It's going to do amazing things, and it does. And there are plenty of times where I think it's going to be great, and it's a failure. And plenty of times where I think it's crap, and it's hugely successful.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog post earlier this week or last week, whenever it was, on using Browserify with Marionette and Backbone. It was the biggest fluff piece I have ever written in my life. It was like there was like no substance to this thing at all, and I'm just like, man, I just want to say these stupid things because that's what I feel like saying right now. And it's been the most successful blog post that I've written in a very long time. It's continuing to get like 4 or 5 unique views per hour every day.
Wow, yeah.
For like a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. It's just, I think part of it maybe is just learning to speak, to like be positive and just to live in the moment, which are two things. I mean, I'm a little bit better on the positive side, but living in the moment is freaking hard to do.
I'm the horrible. Yeah. I'm the worst when it comes to being positive. I'm like the most. I'm the eternal pessimistic fatalist. The sky is crashing.
Lives in the moment, but the moment always sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I just got a tweet. LeanPub made my 5 rules for mastering JavaScript the featured book.
Nice.
What? Are you serious? That's awesome.
Just 15 seconds ago.
Wow. That's crazy. And that's like a short little book. Yeah, I see it on the front page. How long is that book?
It's 34 pages.
Oh, it is? Oh, hey, that's a pretty good deal. 34 pages for $5.
For $5.
Nice, like Explorers on the cover.
Yeah.
I'd buy it just for Explorers on the cover.
Yeah, so I put that cover together in like 10 minutes. I mean, it was, but it's a really effective cover, I think. Is the subtitle of the book is A Multi-Day Journey Exploring JavaScript's Most Notorious Keyword, and you know the idea of the cover is, you know, you can do this, you just have to be willing to make the journey.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
So Derick's up now.
Yay! Talk about a roller coaster week. 10 minutes ago, I was complaining about people calling me a spammer.
My sales tanked this week. I have I've hardly made any sales. Yeah. Like the week before, I made $10,000 or $3,000 worth of sales.
Jeez.
This week,
this was my worst. Like this. Okay, so just brace yourselves, guys, because this was my worst time of the year. This was my worst time all of last year. So the next couple weeks. I wigged out last year because I didn't sell a book for like 5 days in a row, which had never happened. Like I was selling 1 to 2 a day basically consistently for months and months and months, and then suddenly like nothing for about a week. It freaked me out. But yeah, June. I don't know what it is about June, but it's not good for us.
Vacation time. People have to spend a bunch of money on their.
Right.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that aspect of it because we don't like
vacation.
Frugal? What? We don't. Yeah, I don't take vacations for one.
Just friggin' work. Don't you understand? If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to learn to friggin' work. You're gonna you work. You work. Then you stress about work. Then you feel crappy because you didn't get enough work done.
That's right. And then when you take that vacation, you're going to work during your vacation. Like, I'm going to Kansas at the end of July to visit my parents and see one of my cousins from Alaska. I haven't seen him in like 4 years, so we're going up there. And I'm planning how we are going to work while we are there.
Yeah.
Like, what the crap is wrong with me?
But so we don't do big vacations right now, and so I don't really think about the idea of saving for a vacation or at least like having to pay big credit card bills, which is probably what most people do, after a vacation. So the fact that there's probably some money issues as well as just their attention being elsewhere.
Yeah. I
think that combines into a.
So we have tax season, we have vacation season. What are we going to blame in the fall?
Hopefully the fall will be great, and we'll be like thinking that we're rock stars again.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm probably going to do a 4th of July sale. I guess that's the. Well, but it's interesting because when do all the sales happen, right? There's a Memorial Day sale. There's the 4th of July sale, right? Just look at when the furniture stores sell things, have sales. Those are all the
US holidays.
Yeah, those are the things that where they do it because there's a lull at that point, and that boosts it through the lull.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We should
I
probably
don't know.
wrap this up.
Yeah, I probably should.
All right. I didn't make any progress on the podcast recorder. I don't know if I'm pretty dang busy.
Yeah.
I hate to leave that thing on the table, but
I know. I'm trying to get Signalleaf progress again. Trying to get the blog converted, and I want to start writing for that again, and I want to get code moved on Signalleaf as well. There's so many things that I need to do on Signalleaf, and I'm tired of waiting until I have time, and I'm starting to make time to do little things when I can.
Yeah.
Little things often make much.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing lately. I just carve out whatever your biggest priority is, and carve out half an hour every morning.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing about priorities.
Yeah. Okay.
We always talk about what our priorities are, but in reality, priorities are the things you do, not the things you say.
Yep.
So if you want it to be a priority, freaking do it.
Exactly. It's true.
Then it will be the priority. Not until then.
Someday, just a real quick thing, maybe it's like 2 or 3 years from now, but I think we're all going to, the three of us will create a business together and work on it. Because I keep on thinking, like, every time I'm doing stuff, I'm like, man, if all three of us were working on the same blog, producing content, or the same, like, software and, like, doing the marketing
Josh
and all
managing
this
the marketing side of it.
We could call it Fizzle.io.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, but like, see, they have a huge. I mean, they're able to. There's one focusing, three people working on the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I just think about, like, we're split. I mean, each one of us is split in like 5 directions, right?
Right. Yep.
And then imagine if you took like all of that energy that was going out in all those directions from all of us, like 15 different directions, and put it in one direction, how much
like the Avengers,
we could accomplish. Yeah. But I don't think we're ready.
Derek would definitely be the Hulk. Well, I don't know.
Oh, I'm totally the Hulk.
There's an argument for John being the Hulk.
I'm always angry.
All right, let's call it.
All right.
See you guys.
See you guys. Take care.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick.